What is up guys, it's Aaron from Rudy Visuals, and in today's video we have a very interesting lens review for you, which is the Viltrox AF 24 1.8 FE for Sony full frame mirrorless cameras. So see you after that intro. One of the amazing things about shooting on full frame Sony is just the variety of first and third party lenses at pretty much every price point. This is in thanks to the popularity of mirrorless Sony cameras. So for those of you who've been following this channel, we've reviewed a couple of Viltrox lenses for the crop sensor Canon cameras, but now we have our hands on some full frame goodness with this 24mm F1.8 prime lens for Sony E-mount. Now, quick update, this was supposed to be released, I think a couple of months ago, but it's been delayed worldwide, so you can't actually buy this right now, but we've been told it will be out this week, I believe, and will be available for around about $429 US. So this makes this a contender for possibly a really good budget alternative option to the legendary Sony 24mm G Master lens, which is a fantastic lens, but unfortunately 3 times the cost of this. By the way, a huge thank you to Viltrox. We did get this lens for free to review, but as always, this will be a fully unbiased and independent review. Now, in terms of 24mm lenses for the Sony E-mount, there are a few first and third party choice lenses, such as the newly released 24mm G lens, the amazing 1.4 G Master lens, as I said before. But if you're looking for a more wallet friendly option, then the Viltrox might just be the answer that you're looking for. So let's start with the design and the build. Like the other Viltrox lenses that we've reviewed, the 24 f1.8 has similarly impressive build quality, what we've come to expect from Viltrox really. It sports a metal construction and weighs in at about 340 grams. It feels actually quite nice, and it's not quite like super premium feeling, but it's definitely on par with like Sony's 1.8 range, like their 50mm and their 85mm lenses. It also has a metal mount with that USB-C port for easy firmware updates. And in terms of the lens design, it has 11 elements in 9 groups, and there is also a HD nano coating, which is water and fouling resistance. That's the word they use on their manual. That being said, there is no weather sealing on this lens. There's no like gaskets or anything like that. But I think at this price point, that's pretty fair. The focus ring is quite large, taking up almost, well, actually takes up almost half of the lens. And there's also an aperture ring as well, so you can smoothly shift between the aperture range, or you can leave it on auto as well. Overall, the fit and finish of the lens is quite impressive for the price point, I think. It's a nice compact size as well that's very travel friendly too. My only slight issue here is that focus ring seems to be rubbing against the base of the lens slightly. Can you hear that? Kind of like nails on a chalkboard. Is that just me? Oh yeah, I don't like that. Moving on to the focusing. So this lens has a fully autofocusing noiseless STM focus motor, which is pretty much near silent. It worked really well with our Sony a7 III and our a7R III. As you can see here in this test footage, there was no issues keeping up with IAF, face detect, and with spot focusing too. I also didn't encounter any issues with like hunting or anything like that. So for video and vloggers in particular, it does a really great job of keeping focus on eyes and face reliably. The focusing speed is decent. It's not lightning fast, but good enough for most cases. If you're shooting sports or fast moving subjects, then this lens maybe isn't really designed for that sort of thing, so keep that in mind. But for static and slow moving subjects, the focusing is more than good enough. The minimum focusing distance is 30 centimeters, so you do have to make sure that there is that distance to get your subject in focus. There were times when I thought it wasn't like, I couldn't get a subject in focus, but I was just a little bit too close. So it's not ideal for like macro stuff, but I think the G Master is like 24 or 26. But considering this is a 3 times cheaper lens, again, it's not too bad of a compromise. The 24mm focal length as well is just a really, really great option for nice wide shots, but not too wide where you get that almost fisheye cheap action camera distorted kind of look, which I hate. But it's actually quite a versatile focal length that you could use for vlogging, for travel photography, street, landscape, city, architecture, even portraiture is possible. I mean, there is a reason why so many people love shooting at 24mm, and when you put that in a prime lens, you know, with a wide aperture like f1.8, it gives you that ability to get really beautiful foreground to background separation. But with that wider focal length, that's what really helps to make those wide shots look more magical and have that depth and cinematic look. So I can see this being a fantastic lens for YouTubers in particular, vloggers who need that nice wider focal length but have that option of getting that nice blurry background look as well. And personally, that's where I really enjoyed using this lens, which was for video, on a gimbal for example, at around f2.8, which lets you shoot those nice wide shots but with that nice background below. It's just kind of a winning combination really. The maximum aperture of f1.8 of course is a really great option to have in this lens, not only to achieve that nice bokeh effect and get that nice subject and background separation, but it also means you're getting very good low light capability as well. So paired with Sony's already awesome ISO performance in their full frame cameras, it means you're able to continue shooting and still get decent results even in low light and even at night. In terms of the bokeh itself, it's not the smoothest or prettiest bokeh I've ever seen, but on a wide angle lens like this, I think it's not too bad at all, and especially considering the price tag, I think most people will be pretty perfectly happy with these results. So getting more into image quality, here's where things get a little bit more interesting. So for videos, the image quality to my eye looked pretty nice, you know, really good color rendition, contrast, sharpness, especially in 4K. This thing actually really impressed me, but it's when you take photos where you can start to see some of those limitations. So while this is a pretty sharp lens overall with decent corner to corner sharpness and contrast, wide open f1.8, as you can see here in these test shots, while the center was decently sharp, we can see here in the corners that it is quite a lot more softer with some ghosting going on as well. There's also quite a lot of vignetting going on and some kind of weird distortion. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but it just never looked quite right. Now, as we step down to f2.8, the corners do improve slightly in terms of sharpness, that contrast, and that vignetting does improve a little bit, but it isn't until we get to around f5.6 to f8 that we see this lens performing at its best, and we see very good corner to corner sharpness from the center to the edges, and that vignetting disappears. So the image quality f1.8 and even f2.8 is slightly disappointing, but then again, if you're planning on shooting wide open anyway, you're going to just blur out the background. So if that's what you're going to use this for and how you're going to use this lens, it's probably not going to be a huge issue for you. But if you're primarily going to use this for photography and you require, you know, tacked sharpness throughout the images, then this might not be the lens for you. And that distortion can be quite jarring at times. Viltrox have said that there will be profile corrections in the future to help out with the distortion, so hopefully that will improve things and give us some more options to fix those things in post. There is also some color fringing as well, which did pop up in quite a number of our sample photos as well. Again, things that can be corrected in post, but it is noticeable straight out of the camera. Despite these issues though, I've actually really enjoyed using this lens over the last couple of weeks. As prime lenses go, I think 24mm is just something that everybody should have. It's a really nice focal length that's useful for lots of different types of photography and video, particularly if you're a hybrid shooter like me. And at $429, you know, you do expect lenses at this price point to have some issues, which is the case here, but when you consider the G Master lens is 3 times the price, and while that is a fantastic lens, the truth is not everybody wants to spend that kind of money or has that kind of money to spend. So this is definitely a cheap and cheerful lens that produces actually pretty decent results for the price. It's got great build quality, and I think would suit anyone who is on a budget, beginners, or even enthusiasts who just want a decent, wallet-friendly lens. So if you want a nice, simple 24mm lens that blurs out the background nicely, then I think this is a great option for you. If you need tacked sharpness, wide open corner to corner, then maybe save up for a more expensive option. But for everyone else, I think this would be a really viable option. If you're interested in picking up this lens, there will be links in the description box below. By the way guys, what focal length do you guys use? Do you use 24? Do you have 35? Or do you prefer zoom lenses? Definitely let us know down there below. Anyway guys, that's going to end this review. If you like the video, please do give it a like and subscribe if you're new here. Follow us on socials, and if you have any questions or anything like that, then definitely leave them in the comments. We'll do our best to get back to you ASAP. And I guess for now, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.